What was 2014 crypto bear market like? Because a lot of people weren't in crypto at that time.
That was the most ruthless one. The dip was so big, and I remember I started looking at Bitcoin when the price was about $400 roughly in like July 2013.
Australian dollars or?
I think US, roughly around that price. Can't remember exactly.
God damn,
But then
bro.
I spent 6
You're a
months.
prophet.
Huh?
You're a prophet.
No, I
Bitcoin
spent
prophet.
6 months dedicated to just learning Bitcoin and economics and like what is actually happening with Bitcoin. It took me so long, especially back then. It was very difficult because there was barely any YouTube videos about it yet. You know, you only had like this little white paper and people explaining it.
How did you first get onto Bitcoin?
That was from Joe Rogan. Andreas Antonopoulos went on Joe Rogan.
This guy.
Because at that stage as well, I'd watched every single Joe Rogan podcast episode from day one. I went back and watched them all, and then I can't remember what episode Andreas was on. And it started to make sense. Yeah, I just thought, it sounds like a good idea. Market cap's like only, I think it was between $1 and $3 billion. I'm just thinking that's an extremely small financial asset. If the whole entire market cap is $1 to $3 billion, you know, someone like Bill Gates can, you know, put in $1 billion. What does that do to price? But it was 6 months of really hard dedication before I invested a single dollar.
Yeah.
Then by the time I invested, the price was like $800, $900 in like November 2013. It went up straight to 1,200. Thought I was a bloody genius. And then you start the bear market. I'm dollar cost averaging. I'd learned everything about dollar cost averaging, and I stuck to it properly, putting in $500 every single week. And from like 1 year, it went from 1,200 slowly down to like $300.
You're putting 500 a week.
500 a week just into Bitcoin.
Shit, man.
At one stage, I was getting like 2 Bitcoins, like from a paycheck every week. Dude, but this is what happened. At $300, my average buy price, so the price of Bitcoin is now at 300. My average buy price is still like $600. Obviously, in hindsight, that seems like it's so smart. You're down 50%.
Yeah.
Then I remember there was a flash crash where Bitcoin went from 300 and it wicked to some websites to $100 in a day. So it crashed like the COVID crash from 300 to 100 in 1 day.
Wow, you must have been clenching hearts.
Bro, what's that as a percentage? 75% or something?
Yeah, it was crazy. And then I didn't have the emotions then. I actually sold off, I think, 25% of my thing because I couldn't handle. That was just...
Yeah, I'll be a fucking oath.
Because I probably, I'm guessing the numbers would be roughly, I invested about $30,000 by that stage, working my ass off. And then all I had to show for it was like literally $5,000 or something. It was like under 10 grand.
That's pain, man. That's a long day.
So then
long day.
I sold off, I don't even know why. Like, I didn't have the experience. I sold off 25% because I'm like, what if this thing goes to zero?
But at the time, it could have.
Yeah, he could have.